Father Mark, Chairman of the Regents, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly, the graduating class, of which I am now a member, of 2017 here at the University of Portland. I'm absolutely delighted to have been invited to be giving this commencement address. I'm also nervous and feel completely undeserving and overwhelmed by the honour. The phrase we use in Australia would be, bloody hell, why did they choose me? But particularly when other such distinguished people have been awarded here this evening. I'm putting it down to the fact that it's the accent that Father Mark wanted to hear. He often teases me for the way that I say no. That sounded like no, didn't it? Apparently Father Mark thinks I say noi. I'm absolutely delighted. This is my fourth visit here to this beautiful university, up here on the bluff in Portland. And every time I come, I feel a sense of being both a welcomed guest and at home and part of the family. There are some places where we all go in life where we feel our outsidedness, our otherness. There are some places where we're made to feel very welcome, but we still know that we're a stranger to that place. It's very rare that we go to places where we feel both welcomed as a stranger and part of the family. It's in the spirit of Abraham with his tent, it's the definite presence of Jesus, and it's a beautiful part of the charism of the Holy Cross Order. While I'd met Father Mark Poorman, his predecessor Father Bill Beauchamp, Father Monk Malloy and Professor Carolyn Wu before on their many visits to the University of Notre Dame, Australia, and while I had had the pleasure of meeting a number of UP students and graduates who had visited our campuses over the years, my first ever visit to the University of Portland was relatively recent, in 2009. It was also my very first visit to the United States. Approximately 30 hours after leaving home, and after a very brief transit through an intimidating LA airport, I arrived here in Portland. The difference between my first exposure to the United States in LAX and my experience at the University of Portland was, as some of you would appreciate, the starkest of differences. I'm tempted to say that the difference was akin to moving from hell on earth, LAX, to heaven on earth, the University of Portland. Every staff member, every faculty member, every student, every graduate who I've met from this great university have always been wonderful. And each time I visit here, I'm in awe of the beauty of this university. It's a real beauty, and not just to look at, and not just physical. The beauty is in its essence, in its core, in its spirit, and in its people. It's also in its ice cream, the salt and straw ice cream. Apparently made by a UP graduate who I think will be doing, our next set of exchanges won't be students, they'll be alumni with ice cream businesses. And so I'm now delighted to be calling myself a UP graduate and a proper part of the UP family. Why am I nervous? Well, Father Mark's instruction to me, when he wrote to me, was that I should say something thoughtful. Now, at first when he wrote that to me, I thought, does he actually feel that he has to say that to me? Does he have to say that to everybody that he writes to? My second reflection was, oh, I'm glad he didn't say inspirational, because who the hell wants to be asked to be inspirational? So, went from a little bit of concern to relief, and then back to concern again, because I worked out that when he meant thoughtful, he didn't just mean a random collection of thoughts, because I can do that. I can do a random collection of thoughts and stand up here for hours. But I realised that that's not what he wanted. He didn't want something frivolous, and it would be better if it would be something a bit reflective and which might strike a chord with some of you. Now, I do take some comfort in knowing that none of you are here to listen to me. In fact, you are what's known in show business as a captive audience, because you are captured in this building. You're not captured in the sense of being spellbound. I also know that a really bad commencement day speech won't ruin the day for you. And in fact, based on my past experiences, sometimes a truly bad commencement day speech can add such colour to your histories of commencement day when you look back on them. It will be with such fondness and amusement. That being said, I know how important this day is for all of the graduates and all of your loved ones who are here with you. It's special for me too, so I do know it would be objectively better if I tried to say something that had some meaning for some of you. So that's why I'm nervous, because what the hell, what on earth can I say to you? What can I offer you? I am just an ordinary girl who was born a long, long time ago in a country far, far away, otherwise known as the late 1960s, in a small country town in Western Australia. I'm a girl who has been blessed beyond her deserts to be doing what she is doing, to be living how she is living, to be loving and being loved as she is. Like all of us here, I know I have my own unique gifts and talents, and I assure you, so that you don't think it's false modesty, I also work very hard. But I am not extraordinary. I'm an ordinary girl who has been extraordinarily blessed. I was born into a family where love was unconditional, where I was always made to feel special and wanted. I've never questioned my love for my parents or their love for me. True, I thought that sometimes they were a little bit too strict and tough, but it wasn't a question. I think they called that tough love. There were definitely times when I questioned my love for my three sisters, and I suspect there were times where they questioned their love for me, but that was normally when we were fighting over clothes, over the bathroom, over the television, over the telephone. Now that we don't live in the same house, it's all fine. I was born at a place and in a time where there was no war. There was material comfort, there were educational opportunities, and my gender, my faith, my background was no bar to me pursuing studies, to getting a job, to having a family, to living comfortably. I wish that was so for everyone. I was also blessed to have been born into and raised into a Catholic family. It's true that in 1979, after my best friend told me how her aunt, who was a Carmelite nun, had received her calling, I spent the next 2 weeks of my life praying more than I had done up until that time, praying that I wouldn't receive a calling to become a nun. I've often thought that God would have been looking at me with a smile on his face saying, "No chance, don't worry about it." It's also true that my faith was quite dormant throughout my late teens and early 20s, and it's still something that challenges me and I struggle with from time to time. But it is part of me and I cherish it. I was blessed and supported to have been mentored throughout my life, particularly through my days at Notre Dame, especially by my predecessor, the visionary and incredible Peter Tannick. I was blessed to have found Notre Dame. It awakened me, it opened me, it gave me opportunities which I would never otherwise have had, to meet people, to do things, and to awaken my faith. I've also been blessed to have found the love of my life, my husband Simon, who it's 5:40 a.m. in Perth, where I come from, and he and my sons, wherever the camera is, you better be awake, watching this. 5:40 a.m, it's not too early a start, is it, on a Monday morning? But I was blessed to have found Simon, without whom I wouldn't be here today, and I don't actually know where I would be. The two of us have also been beyond blessed to have 3 beautiful sons, Sam, Josh and Tom. I can't put into words the love I have for the men in my life. As blessed as I have been and continue to be, it took me a long time to recognise these blessings. And even today, I sometimes have to forcibly remind myself. I spent much of the first 2 decades of my life as a Walter Mitty type dreamer. In 1976, at the age of 8, and after watching the Olympic Games on the small black and white television that we had, I wanted to be Olympic gymnast Nadia Comaneci. In 1977, I wanted to be a pop singer like Agnetha from ABBA, which wasn't ever going to happen because I can't sing. I don't have blonde hair. At that stage, I had short hair, freckles, no front teeth. That was never going to happen. In 1981, I wanted to win Wimbledon like Chrissy Everett. In 1982, I wanted to win an Oscar. In 1985, I wanted to be a supermodel. By that stage, I did have front teeth and I didn't have glasses, but I didn't qualify for any of the other requirements to be a supermodel. Throughout my university years, I dreamt of becoming a female partner at a law firm before the age of 30 and with 5 kids. I also dreamt of becoming the first female Prime Minister of Australia. And I have achieved none of those. And if I was to judge my life against those childhood dreams, I would think that I'd failed miserably and I should feel grossly unfulfilled. And there was a time in which I did, in which I succumbed to the scourge of depression and anorexia, and not only gave up dreaming, but gave up hoping, gave up praying, and simply existed, counting off the days on an imaginary calendar in my head until the day I died. These dark days were actually one of the biggest blessings I've received in my life, although I can tell you I didn't think so at the time. The only way out was to be open to accepting my own frailties and imperfections, open to accepting me for me, open to accepting the help of others, and open to God. I no longer feel like a failure. I no longer dream of being someone other than who I am. I am comfortable being me. Don't get me wrong, I fail regularly, I'm imperfect, and I make mistakes often. In fact, my 2 most constant companions in life are hindsight, from whom I learn regularly, and that little voice inside my head that says, "Why did you just say that? Why did you just do that?" But now my dreams, my hopes, my aspirations and my prayers are no longer about being somebody else, but rather they are about embracing what has been gifted to me, about striving to be the best that I can be, and about doing something good. Because this is something that I have learnt. Contrary to so many popular songs, movies, TVs, books, we can't all be whatever we want to be, nor can we have it all. We can't all be the best, be a champion, rule the world, or be in a hall of fame. The best that I can ever be is the best me. The best that you can ever be is the best you. We should direct our hopes, our dreams, our aspirations and our prayers to having the openness and insight to recognise our own uniqueness, our own gifts and talents, our calling, our vocation in life, and trying to live a life in which we use and develop what we have been given for the betterment of the world in which we live. What we do doesn't need to be big, it doesn't need to be grand, and it doesn't need to take place on the world stage or on social media. We don't need to be in a hall of fame to live a good and fulfilling life, to make a difference and to do good in the world. Even when we accept this, and we accept that we are who we are and not someone else, it can nonetheless still be a struggle to find our way in life. It's not always easy to work out what your gifts and talents are, what your calling is and what your vocation is. Even when we think we know it, and we think that life is clearly plotted out for us in front of us, challenges emerge, curveballs come at us, and things take a turn which we didn't expect. At these times, we need to dig deep, to draw on our inner reserves, and to be courageous. And rather ironically, it's these times of challenge, times of despair and darkness which can be the biggest blessings in our lives. If we take the opportunity to learn more about ourselves, to open ourselves to others, and above all, to open ourselves and trust in God. I know that without my dark and challenging times, I wouldn't be here today at the University of Portland. Once again, this ordinary girl from a small country town far, far away has been blessed beyond her desert to be here with you at this beautiful university and at this wonderful time of your life. Today, it is your day to celebrate what you have achieved and to do so with all of those who have loved and supported you. It's also a day for you to look forward, to dream, to aspire, to hope about what lies ahead. My prayers, my dreams and my hopes for all of you as you leave this beautiful university and walk out into the world is that you embrace your own God-given, unique gift, skills and talents. That you embrace your life and that you live your own life and do so in a way which is good, which is decent and which serves others. I hope and pray that in times of joy you laugh and laugh loudly, that you take pleasure in things and are filled with gratitude for the blessings which have been given to you. I hope that in times of darkness and times of challenge, you find the strength and courage to get through them with an openness to yourself, an openness to others, and an openness to and trust in God, so that one day you too can look back on them with gratitude for the blessing which they gave you. I also hope and pray that you truly love and know that you are truly loved throughout every moment of every day. Above all, let God's mercy into your heart and let his light shine through you. Thank you for this huge privilege.